Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask Zax number 6. This is an email that came into me earlier today, early Saturday, and I have basically taken a screenshot of that email that came into me at askzaxter@yahoo.com, and I've, of course, crossed out the information that would make this person, be searchable, or, we don't want to give any kind of personal details away about anybody who writes me an email. So keep in mind that if you guys do write me an email, even if you write something about, the name of your partner, your ex, or whatever in the email, that I would cross that kind of stuff out to protect your identity and protect the identity of anybody else that you might, talk about in your email. So if you guys are out there watching this video and you guys want to ask me a question and get my input on what I think about your relationship or a breakup or whatnot, you can always send me an email to askzaxter@yahoo.com. So I have gotten quite a few emails since I've started making these videos, the Ask Zaxter videos, and more importantly, my breakup videos talking about how to deal with a breakup. And this email here is in direct response to one of my videos I've done on how to, my advice given to people on how to deal with a breakup. So we read this email. It says, "Hi, Zaxter99." And he says, "I need your help because I watched your video about to just forget about your ex is the best thing to do." Okay, so he watched my video about how to just move on and try to forget about your ex and move on with your life. Okay? He says, "I can't forget about my ex girlfriend since 2012 when she broke up with me in a bad breakup." Okay, so I don't think you need like 3 bads. I think a bad breakup would be enough information. But anyway, this guy is talking about an ex-girlfriend that 2012, it's 2020 right now. So 8 years ago, they broke up. He broke up with him 8 years ago, and he can't forget about her. Okay, that's a little bit concerning. The bad breakup is a little bit concerning too. It makes me wonder how bad it was. Anyway, we dated for 15 months and met in 2011. So they dated for a year, barely more than a year. And he says it was the best relationship I ever had because, I think he means because I loved her so much. Because I loved her so much, and she could make me laugh until I cried. And I knew her better than I knew myself. And she was a part of me. So I basically get that you felt really connected to this lady for the 15 months that you were dating her. She still lives in the same city, but she has gotten married, and I know she has 2 kids with her new husband. Okay, so my question is, how do you know that she has 2 kids? Are you talking to her, or are you like stalking her Facebook or her social media? I'm hoping that you're just kind of watching her Facebook. I'm hoping that you're not continually talking to her while she's married, for not only your sake, but for her sake. But even if you are stalking her and knowing that she's married and has 2 kids and you haven't moved on, that's more than concerning. But anyway, she's got a new husband. Well, not new, because, wait a minute, just a second. Where was it? She lives in the same city. She's gotten married, and she now has 2 kids with her new husband. So how long has she been married? Okay. So I'm assuming that this gal met somebody and got married at least like 4 or 5 years ago. To have 2 kids with a new husband, like she's been married for a considerable amount of time, I would think. Unless they were twins or something, which probably isn't the case. Anyway, he goes on to say that I can't just forget her. I want to wait for her as long as it takes, because what if she breaks up with her husband? Oh my God. And loads of people do get a divorce. When she gets a divorce, I want to call her up and see if she wants me back, because I will love her better than her husband did or ever will. Oh my God, I'm wanting to bury my face in my hands at this point. Like, I don't even know what I'm feeling, to be honest with you, to the person that wrote this. Like, this is such despair. Anyway, he goes on to say, I really don't want any new girl. I love her more than I could ever love anyone, and she is the only one who will make me happy. I am not so young. I'm 34 now, and I have my own house now. I was living with my grandparents when we dated, and I know that if she saw my house, she would fall in love with me more than ever. And I just want her to be with me again. So you're hoping that getting a new house or getting a house since you were living with your grandparents when you dated would make her just fall helplessly in love with you and be the answer to all your problems. That's craziness. Anyway, he says, I'm writing to you because my friends and my family tell me to just date somebody new and stop thinking about her. But, there's always a but she is the love of my life, and I never want to give up on her because she still has half my heart inside of her chest. All right, please help me. Thank you. All right, to the gentleman who wrote me this email is extremely concerning, and in a way, I'm almost wondering if this isn't like a troll email, because it's so hard to believe that you would hold on to like no hope for so long. Like, guys, the normal process, the normal length of time, I would say that a breakup would take to get over somebody, whether it's, a year-long relationship like this one or even a 10-year marriage. I feel like most people should probably be moving on and accepting the breakup and, be willing to move on from that breakup somewhere between 3 months and 6 months. I would say be normal. Now, I'm not saying that after 6 months or after, a certain period of time that you're not ever going to think about your ex, or you're never going to see things that remind you of your ex, or, have memories that pop up from time to time. Sure, that may happen the rest of your life, especially if you had a really, serious, really, really good soul connection with somebody, and you guys really connected at a high level. I think you definitely might have memories of that person that you remember from time to time for the rest of your life. I think that would be perfectly normal. But what's not normal is to hold on to somebody for 8 years and watch and know that they've gotten married and are still married to somebody, have a couple of kids with this other person, and you still believe that you're going to wait just in case they get a divorce. And if they get a divorce, he says, if they get a divorce, the first thing he's going to do is run out and call her. I want to run out and call her and say, hey, baby, take me back. When I read this, to anybody out there, I want you guys to comment below, let me know what you guys think. But does anybody else visualize, this woman leaving an 8 or 10-year marriage or maybe 15-year marriage whenever she divorces, if she does, which she may never get a divorce. That's just this guy's hoping upon hope that, this lady is going to get a divorce, and as soon as she gets a divorce, she's going to be out of like a 15-year marriage or whatever it is, 10-year marriage, and this guy is going to be calling her up as soon as he sees her post something like this on her Facebook or social media. The very next day after she says, hey, I'm moving on from Tom. Let's call her husband Tom. She says, I'm moving on from Tom. I feel like that I wasn't happy and blah, blah, blah. And so like the very next day, this dude's going to be calling her up. Like, this just wants me to put my face in my palms. And this is so depressing. Honestly, this is depressing to read. So this guy wants to call her up after the minute, is what it seems like, the minute she gets a divorce, and see if she wants me back. And, that I'll love her better than her husband ever did or ever will. Okay, this right here is nonsense for this guy to be writing. How would he possibly know how much her husband loves her or will love her? How does he know that he loved her more? And in fact, I would say that this guy's love for his ex-girlfriend is not very high at all, because this whole email basically is about him, how much he wants her back, how much she can make him laugh until he cried, and that she was a part of him and they were connected, and she still has half of his heart inside of her chest. This whole email just screams me, 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 me. I don't think this is love to the gentleman that wrote me this email. I don't think you love your ex. I think you are absolutely, like, clinically not depressed, but obsessed with this woman and the high that she gave you when you were connected with her. This is like an obsession, and I believe this is something that you need to seek professional help for. Now, I'm trying to be completely honest to this person that wrote me the email, to this gentleman that wrote me the email, because it seems like you're stuck in there's 7 stages of a breakup, whether it be a breakup in a, just a partnership or boyfriend, girlfriend or whatever, or a breakup in a divorce or whatever. And I know this because I studied the 7 stages when my wife left a year and a half ago. And that's been a year and a half, only a year and a half. And I am already moved through the 7 stages of that breakup long ago. And that was a woman that I was with for 15 years. I was married to her, and we had a child together. So for you to be stuck on a 1-year relationship for 8 years and determined that you're going to wait until she gets a divorce and that you're the one for her and that you're the one that she loves and will love is crazy talk. And I hate to say it. I know this guy's reaching out to me and looking for help, and I'm probably shattering his hopes of what I would say to him. And I feel like this gentleman is, and this is what movies do to us, people. This is what the entertainment industry does. We grow up and we watch hundreds or thousands of movies and TV shows where a situation like this would be heroic in the movie. You can almost see the guy in the movie, the really good-looking actor that has a breakup, and you watch him as he clutches his heart when she leaves him, and there's women out there crying as they're watching this movie, and the sad music starts, and then it shows this guy refusing to go out with any new women because he's thinking of her. And in the movie, as we watch the movie, we're all pulling for this guy. We're pulling for this gentleman to move on. Not to move on, or in real life we're hoping he moves on. No, we're pulling for him to get his love back as we watch the movie, because that's what they're all about. We're hoping, just like The Notebook and so many other movies that talk about, when somebody leaves you, you don't give up, you fight for them, you wait for them, whatever it takes to show your love. And, in the movies, they almost always get this person back, no matter how long it is. I remember The Notebook, where the guy moves on, and he builds a house, and his beard is like super long or whatever, and he just can't move on from this girl in the movie The Notebook. And of course, he gets her back in the end. And guys, in the real world, this isn't heroic. And in the real world, this isn't even love. And I know that if this email was in a movie, it would be, oh my God, this is the most precious love ever. This guy loves her so much. He's willing to wait his entire life to be with her. No, this isn't love, guys. I believe this is rooted in a depression. And this might have been a depression even before he met her. It might be the reason that she decided to leave him. I don't know. But obviously the breakup didn't help him. I feel like this gentleman, I feel like the only thing I can suggest to this guy who wrote me this email is that you need to seek some help. I'm not a professional psychologist or psychiatrist or anything like that. I can't help you with a problem this deep-rooted. But I can tell you that if you were to call this woman, like if she was to get a divorce, and you were to call her, like even a week after, like I feel like this guy wouldn't even wait a week after he saw some message like that. But if you were to call this woman, like right after she leaves a husband she might have been with for 5, 8, 10, 15 years, and you're to call her up and say, hey man, hey baby, how you doing? You remember me? Remember you broke up with me back in 2012. Like, how do you think realistically this woman's going to take that? Do you really believe this woman's going to fall to her knees and clutch her chest as well and be like, oh my God, I love you so much. I can't believe you waited so long for me. This makes me so happy. Hell no. This woman is not going to be ecstatic and happy that you called her right after she's going through a divorce. That is the last thing in the world this woman wants, is to hear from you right after, right while she's going through a breakup of somebody that she's been with a long time, somebody she has kids with. And you say this husband that you'll love her better and more than her husband ever did is almost psychotic. Like, I can almost guarantee you that you don't even love her 1/100th as much as her husband does or ever will. Because this husband probably loves her enough that if she walks out, it may take him a little bit, but eventually this guy loves her enough to where he'll let her go. And that's something that you, the person that wrote me this email, you have failed to do. You have failed to respect your ex's decision to break up with you. You have failed to respect, which is part of love. Respecting somebody is part of love. You have failed to love her enough to honor her decision to break up with you. That's not love. When you don't respect her enough to let her go when she breaks up with you, and then you continue to hang on and you watch her get married to somebody else, and instead you're not happy for her, you're not feeling love would be feeling happy that she's happy. Love would be cheering that she's having kids with another man and feeling happiness for her. And I'm not saying that you should be, smiling and all happy and everything like that, but somewhere inside of you should be feeling happiness for your ex. If you really cared for her, you really loved her, you'd be happy that she's happy, not determined to wait out this marriage and determined that you love her more than her husband does. That's not love. That's just a sick obsession. And that's why I say you really need to seek professional help. Going through a breakup and wanting to be with somebody is normal, right? And to think about somebody years after the breakup is completely normal. But everything you write to me in this email is not normal. This is not love. This is, I would say this is not even infatuation with the woman. I would say that you're infatuated with a selfish desire to get back the way she made you feel. You're more in love with the infatuation or the idea of what she could do for you rather than you are loving her. You're not even infatuated with her. You're just infatuated with the things she did for you and the way she made you feel and the way she made you feel better than any other relationship I've ever had. So, like I said, there's 7 stages that people go through in a breakup. And most people go through these 7 stages, even in a pretty serious relationship, somewhere between 3 and 6 months. Now, everybody's going to vary. Everybody's completely different on how they deal with things, as we see in this email. But most people do go through these 7 stages, and healthy people will go through these 7 stages fairly quickly within a few months. But you are stuck somewhere between the second phase of those 7 phases, which is denial. And the third phase of a breakup is where you're looking for reasons as to how, if you had them back, you would make them happy. All the things that you would change about yourself and all the little band-aids you would put on your relationship so that you would fix it. You almost the third phase is what I would call the bargaining phase of a breakup. And it's kind of like where you suddenly think like you are an expert on relationships and you know exactly all the little things that would have made your relationship perfect. It's not true, but you cling to these little things with all your hope that, hey man, if I had done this, if I had shaved my hair more often, if I had used a different shampoo, and of course I'm being I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but if I had made her favorite cookies more often, whatever, you're convinced that doing these little changes in the relationship would make her ultimately happy and that she would have never left you if only you had done these things. So this is kind of like the bargaining phase, and you're stuck between the denial. You don't want to accept that this woman doesn't love you. And you think that things like having your own house now would make her ultimately happy and never leave you again and fix everything. Yeah, you're stuck in the early stages of a breakup, and you definitely haven't reached the later phases of, a breakup, which is where you relapse and then you finally feel anger. Now, anger is probably a really healthy part of a breakup phase. It's like the 5th phase out of 7 phases where you finally start feeling anger that this person broke up with you, that you love so much, and you start feeling angry because you start looking for the reasons and the ways they didn't make you happy. So you finally start looking at something different than how you could fix it and how how you're going to love them forever and all this. You start looking at reasons this woman or person, this woman or man, didn't make you happy, and the things that they did that drove you crazy, or the things that you didn't like about them. Because as I said, nobody's perfect, right? And so in the anger phase, you start, internally, you're kind of lashing out at this ex, and you're starting to think thoughts like, hey, you didn't do this, and you never hugged me enough, or you didn't have sex with me enough, or whatever the things are that you can say about the ex that didn't make you happy. And after anger, you finally reach a point where you accept that the person broke up with you, and you have definitely, I can tell from this email, you have definitely not accepted the fact that he doesn't love you anymore. Not just broke up, you can't accept the fact that this woman doesn't love you anymore and that she loves her husband. And then after acceptance, you kind of find hope outside of this person. Phase 7 is where you find hope that you can move on without this person. You can move on and be happy, not only in another relationship, but you can move on and be happy without them, without this ex. And that's the last phase. And it's obvious that you haven't reached anger, you haven't reached the acceptance, and you definitely haven't reached hope, the hope phase of a normal breakup. So you're stuck in those early phases of a breakup, and you can't move on. It's almost like I said, it's almost like 2 gears, in a machine. And if one of those little gears breaks off, it might cause the machine not to perform normally. And they just kind of get stuck there and grind, and maybe go back and forth, and the gears are just stuck there and they can't rotate. And that's kind of where you're at in your life, because you can't move through this relationship. And I think that you need to seek help, professional help, something more than I can give you in this video. And this video is not only being made for this gentleman. If you are out there and you have went through a breakup that shattered your heart, somebody that you felt really connected to, and it's been more than 6 months, and you're still not finding any hope in a life alone or in a life without your ex, it might be time for you to look for some professional help. Now, I'm not saying to be, going to the first person you can find on Google search or searching on YouTube to put your money into. I would probably look more into local, relationship experts in your local area that might be able to help you before you look online. Somebody you can talk to face to face and you actually go see and talk to, rather than just talking on the internet or talking on the phone. I feel like, to get that one-on-one personal interaction with a relationship expert might be your best, a better choice than, searching online for help. Okay. But that's just my advice. I would really love to know what you guys think. I mean, obviously I do feel sympathy and empathy for this gentleman who wrote me this email. And I feel empathy and sympathy for anybody that's stuck feeling this kind of pain and this kind of determination to get back with somebody that's basically long gone. I mean, when this woman is married and has 2 kids and, it's been 8 years, she's more than long gone. And this right here is just a fantasy. This is just you're just bullshitting yourself to be thinking that if she gets a divorce, that you can just walk right up to her and she's going to fall right into your lap. More than likely, if this guy was to call her right after her divorce and, continue to call her, she's probably going to get a restraining order on the guy. He's going to think he's the biggest creep ever. She might feel sympathy for him. She might feel bad for him, but she definitely is not going to be like, oh my God, I love you. I mean, that's just not going to happen. It's not like the movies, guys. So if you're stuck in this kind of a situation with an ex yourself and it's been, 6 months or a year or 3 years or whatever, and you haven't started dating somebody else yet again, you haven't started finding happiness and living without them yet, and it's been more than a year, I would strongly suggest that you seek a counselor to talk to you about what you're feeling and about why you can't move on. So I do hope this video has helped somebody out. I do hope this video helps this gentleman out here. I do wish you all the luck, but it's obvious to me that you definitely need to let her go for not only her sake, but for your own sake. And so that eventually you can move on and find happiness. Realize that, that you're a value all by yourself. You don't need her to be complete. Be sure you guys let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. This has been Zaxtor99. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't liked my video, be sure you do that. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, be sure you do that so you get notifications every time I put up a new video. And a video like this that maybe you'll be interested in. Again, this has been Zaxtorian. Have a great day out there, everybody. All the best with all your relationships out there. And I hope that each and every one of you finds happiness and joy in every part of your life. Take care, everybody.